We've had a large number of new partnerships over the last 6 months, just totaling over $39 million worth of option agreements in, over $800,000 of cash payments made to us. And this is all in the Athabasca Basin, shown on the image there, right in our backyard, someplace that we know how to operate. We've turned down our workforce from well over 35 people full-time and 100 people part-time. After Fukushima, we're down to 6 or 8 people. We've cut our costs down. We're probably in a better situation than we've ever been in previous years. The company's 26 years old, so that's a lot to tell you. And we've evolved over the last few years from just dealing with Japan and Korea's largest uranium explorers to now working with De Beers looking for diamonds. And here I'm telling you, hold the faith. There's a lot of stuff happening in the market, and we will show you some images here which should keep you happy. I'm very pleased about how things go, but as usual, not everything happens in the time frame that I'd like them to happen. There are always extra little things that happen through there, so our disclaimer says take it that we're trying to tell you the best news that we can at the moment, the most factual, straightforward news, but things can change in the future. I'm here to make money for my shareholders. I'm one of the shareholders of this company. I want to make money. I want my shareholders to make money. I want them to fund us to go to the next points of view. So the way we do that is we find partners to come in on our projects. Canalaska is a project generator. We've got 18 uranium projects and a whole handful of diamond projects now. 3 of those are out to partnerships, and we've got 1 copper zinc project that I want to talk to you about. These groups have funded us for well over $100 million worth of work over the last 10 years. And we have found multiple targets that we believe will take us through to discovery success in uranium. And now we've got a whole series of targets that hold tremendous potential for diamonds. We always knew to survive in the uranium business we would need to have partnerships. It just takes too much money to go find a uranium deposit, but the prizes are amazing. And we did this using technology. I've shown this picture before, but for those who haven't seen it, all that plane is a giant metal detector. But that plane can see half a mile into the ground and tell us geologists what's going on. And newer versions of that, the ZTEM, can see a mile into the ground, 2 kilometers into the ground. So we're getting images of the rocks that were never exposed that nobody else could ever dream of seeing. And this is helping us put together this exploration puzzle. Whether it's diamonds or uranium and in copper and zinc, this is the new technology that's been driving it, and we were the first guys to use this in the Athabasca in 2004. We are a uranium company. This is where my focus is. This is where we've got most of our money. This is where I know enough about what's happening in the Athabasca and the uranium markets. I want to stay in the uranium market, and the other projects I tell you will just allow us to stay in this market long enough to catch the next curve. You see the price of uranium there soared to $140 a pound. Well, you know what? If it goes from $40 to $140 a pound, it only makes 0.4 of a cent a kilowatt hour difference in your electricity bill. The long-term use of uranium is foreseen by the Chinese, it's seen by the Indians, it's seen as Pakistan, South Africa, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Finland, Switzerland. All these people are seeing that you can have cheap electricity that's clean from uranium, and that's going to drive that supply curve higher. If you have seen this image before, it's the one that I like most. It gives you an idea of where all these build-outs are going. And don't forget, those plants are being built right now down in Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina, and there are 36 more in permitting. And even over in Idaho Falls here, they expect by 2018 to have the first small modular reactor acting. That's the one that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett pushed forward. And all of these nuclear power plants need uranium, and I'm out there with Canalaska with 1.2 million acres of land in the Athabasca looking for that. We don't have enough uranium at the moment to run all these plants on a long-term basis. The market's got some volatility in it at the moment, but stay the course. These are the locations of our projects in the Athabasca. That whole map scans about 500 kilometers. It goes from Alberta, Saskatchewan into Manitoba, and all the projects in red are our uranium projects, and those ones in black are our diamond projects. very fortuitous that we came across some information that was in the government realm that allowed us to look at depth in the Athabasca and see some pinpoint targets that look like the pipes that bring diamonds to surface. And so out on the west-hand side of there, we've got a large piece of land in Alberta. We've got De Beers working with us in the central part of the Athabasca. We've got Cantera working with us, and we've got Fiordland working with us. We've done a lot of work in the basin. Down there in the MacArthur River area and down at Cree East, we've done enough work to keep those properties in good standing for 20 years. We hold them at no cost for the next 20 years for the amount of work that we've done. As I said, there's $39 million worth of work being signed up with us this year, $12.5 million from Cameco. We're working on an area just past Fox Lake there. The thing I like about this is we're right next door to their major operating mine. You can see our property, it's all that land in the distance. I didn't put a line on, but it's all the land in the distance there. And on the next map, you'll see where they have made a discovery that we believe trends onto our property. Cameco did a deal with us here. We've been working with Mitsubishi Corporation and put just on $17 million into the ground. We bought out Mitsubishi at the beginning of this year and did a deal with Cameco the next month, just after they announced that they have a new discovery at Fox Lake, 60 million pounds of 8% uranium. A pretty spectacular find right within the confines of the proximity of their largest mine. Now that little yellow line that goes along there is what was picked up from that aircraft when it flew along, and you can see a big break in there. Whenever those lines go along and they break and they move, they give you an opportunity to find a mineral deposit. And that big star is where Cameco have drilled their first hole and where I expect they'll be doing a major drill program this winter. We just announced 2 drill results from further down south where those 2 small drill holes are, or those 2 small stars are. And we can see that the whole zone has got uranium mineralization all along it for about 4 kilometers. The De Beers story. In processing all of this information, we see all the new airborne surveys come through, and the little 400-meter survey line, the blue thing down the bottom there's got some red dots in the middle of it. They should not be there. We're in an area where we've got layers of sand that is non-magnetic, and it goes for at least 1,000 meters underneath us. Yet we have magnetic dots sitting in the middle of that ground. And when we start to look at it, those magnetic dots are between 500 and 800 meters across. That's from here right across to those cranes over the other side. And they have quite strong magnetic intensity. And so De Beers took on this project from us. We saw 75 of them. They came up with 85 targets. Immediately got an airplane in there in May, June, July, and August, and within the month they had a drill rig on the ground, followed by a second drill rig. Those 2 drill rigs are in the Athabasca. They've got a new camp up there, and I fully expect that they'll be drilling this winter. We've announced the results of 4 drill holes, 4 very shallow, short drill holes that were drilled on the edge of anomalies that were quite weak, and we had to announce they did not have kimberlite in them. They're interesting holes. We'll be able to report on them as we go along, but I think hold the faith, volatility should run out of our market as people start to see how serious De Beers are and we are. Moving along, I'm going to show you something else that we do though. We're project generators. I said I'd bring something new in, and I've got 1 minute and 35 seconds left. So here in northern Manitoba, we're already working right in the north of Manitoba at our Casimir and Northwest Manitoba projects. They're for uranium. But to the south, when we processed a lot of airborne information, we found another project right next door to the 3rd largest VMS, copper zinc deposit in Canada. And there it is. There's a huge blob of electromagnetic response about 3.5 kilometers north of the mine. A brilliant target. And then when we went in, we found it had 15 drill holes in it, drilled in 1980 and back in the 70s. And you know what? That's a VMS horizon that's 1.2 kilometers long. That's a copper zinc target that's ready to be drilled. The numbers from the Rutan mine, 83 million tons of copper zinc, 3rd largest in Canada. But the high grade zone in the center of that is what we're going to be chasing in this northern target. That's a project that we will fund to the next stage and look for another partner. So in summary, we've got 18 uranium projects. We've got well over 85 diamond projects that we're working on. We're flying today, and we have a company that's got 27 million shares out and an $18 million capitalization. We're well short of our average shareholder price of $3, a high of $8 or $9. And here you've seen a sell-off because those first 4 of the 300 drill hole targets, or 300 targets, didn't produce something. I think that was short-sighted, and I think you'll see that over time here, De Beers and ourselves have a lot more interest in that project. So, ladies and gentlemen, a buying opportunity for you there at 40 cents. Take advantage of it, and I look forward to talking to you again. Thank you.